r/ask Reddit. What is one thing from your profession that everyone should know? Mortician. When you get cremated, we don't just open the retort and sweep a pile of ashes into the urn. When we cremate someone, the body is actually reduced to bones. The bones are then put into a grinder. The ashes you get are not really ashes, they're ground up bones. That's actually really interesting. You should do an Ask Me Anything or just post more stuff about your job. It's one profession that few people really know anything about. I'd be curious on the process too. How does it affect you mentally too, seeing dead bodies all the time? I don't know if I could handle it personally. Get out of the way paramedic. As a firefighter, I love the Izzy blaring the horn at me. Do I need to pull over? Lights and sirens mean move it, people. My dad was a battalion chief on a large urban fire department. One Saturday afternoon, a water heater exploded in a grocery store. This store was at the intersection of two busy streets, so the traffic was a nightmare on a normal day, let alone when the vultures are slowing down to watch people fleeing a burning building. So here is my dad trying to get to a scene where dozens of people could be injured and the idiot drivers won't get out of the way. Lights, siren, air horn, they would not move. So dad decided to handle things in the usual fireman manner. Unfortunately, he forgot to switch from radio to PR and the entire city got to hear my dad yell, "Get the duck out of the way." Old people nurse here. Go ducking, visit your granny in her retirement home, you don't. And bring some useful clothes and stuff she likes and nice shampoo and shit like that. Really, it's not too much to ask. Those people are your family, for duck's sake. They need your love and respect now more than ever. Aged carer here. I just can't agree with this anymore. Even if you only come in for half an hour. Sometimes the only company these people get is when I'm helping them get up for the day and go back to bed in the evening. Rooms are bare and sterile. Bring in some photos and a throw rug. We won't mind if you make this place your home away from home. It makes our residents happier. I work in IT support. Most of the things you ask, I don't know. I use Google. Corollary. Most people don't really understand how to use Google to fix IT related problems and think you are some sort of genius for being able to wrangle useful information out of it. Moral. If you search for printer doesn't work, you're gonna have a bad time. I always swore that you IT people did that, and no one ever believed me. I have had at least a couple instances where I tried googling my problems to no avail. Then I call IT, only to have the guy from IT say something like, "Hold on and I'll try to determine the cause of the problem," only to have him return and read directions word for word from the same forum that I was just on, and that I'm looking at as we spoke. Lawyer. I do not consent to a search. Memorize this. I have a question for you. What should you do during a random traffic stop? Here's my example. The other day I was driving through my neighborhood and I turned down one street where cops were just stopping every car that drove past. When they stopped me, the cop just said they were doing a random check to make sure everyone had their license up to date. I live in a neighborhood with a really high Hispanic population. I'm not stupid and I know what they were after. I noticed with some cars they were taking a really long time. But I'm white and the cop barely glanced at my license and waved me on through. Still, I thought that was sketchy as hell. Can cops actually do this? What are my rights when this happens? Like, can I refuse to show it since I wasn't actually breaking any law? Or do they have the right to ask simply because I was driving a car? They didn't search my car, nor did they ask to, but it looked like they were searching a few of the others. Cops are always within their rights to ask for identification. And if they have a reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, then you are obligated to present it. Otherwise, no, you don't have to present it. Feel free to ask whether they're detaining you or if you're free to go. If they're keeping you, ask why. If they say they are not detaining you, leave immediately and do not answer any of their questions. Seeing as how they were stopping everybody, there's not a chance in hell that a judge would consider that a reasonable suspicion. Construction manager. Corners were most definitely cut in the house you just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on. Also, somewhere behind your drywall is an illustration of a penis. Edit. Allow me to elaborate. I work for a semi-large commercial general contractor as project coordinator. I have experience in the field both in commercial and framing residential. hence the knowledge of the PNI. It is part of my job to review work by the trades and have them redo work if necessary. In commercial construction, many times if you cut corners or do shoddy work you will be called on it because there is knowledgeable people reviewing the work throughout construction. In residential construction, many times the work is not reviewed by a knowledgeable person or it isn't reviewed at all. The workers on site are the ones that will decide on the quality of the work. If workers are paid by the hour they will generally do better work, but it will take longer. If workers are paid by the piece or by square foot they will do everything to get done quick and preserve material. If you are having a house built, make sure you have a lawyer read your contract and look for a clause that will disallow you from entering the house until it's finished. Many contractors include this clause and can charge you for trespass if you enter the house prematurely. Make sure you hire an inspector to review the work at every stage of construction. And afterwards make sure they do an inspection with thermal imaging. I have seen way too many people not hire an inspector for a new house simply because the house is new. As for common cut corners, they are mostly aesthetic, and if you don't see it there will never be an issue. One common issue that is actually a big deal is with joists, especially I-joists. Make sure that the tops or bottoms of the joists are not cut and make sure that squash blocks were used when the joists are under a point load. Case in point, Penhoward condos in Fort McMurray. A quick Google produced this video. http://www.youtube.com watch v=7 Kazakh 6mvzo. It's absolutely horrible. Also in the walls are a lot of Red Bull cans. Or Tim Hortons cups if you're in the Canada. Great list, but the question said one thing. Helicopters can do something similar called auto-rotation. N. Wikipedia. Org wiki auto-rotation. Helicopter. It's possible to land a helicopter without using the engines. That just blew my ducking mind. Pharmacist. We don't just count pills and put labels on bottles. I know more about drugs than most other health professionals, so once you have a diagnosis from a doctor, I can make sure your drug therapy is appropriate and will not interfere with any other conditions or medications you might have. I need to know the chemical structure of the drug, how it gets into your body and how your body uses it and disposes of it for the multitude of drugs available. My wealth of knowledge is underutilized by the public, so feel free to ask your pharmacist about your medication and your health. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Anonymous person. My pharmacist typically spends more time talking to me than my doctor. Soldier here. Those with the most war stories probably didn't do much. Those who don't speak of it probably have seen some shit. I hate being stood up at every family gathering so people can clap and thank me for being in the military. I was in for 15 years and have seen all kinds of badness. When you tell some people what you've done and what you've seen, men treat you differently. A few even get scared. I've had people tell me that they don't want me near their children. I just want people to treat me the same. I don't like the attention. I don't want to hear your war stories, because I have a hard enough time with my own. I have been in Europe for quite a while and have seen how other militaries are treated when everyone has to join. I really like the mandatory military time. It gives everyone an idea of where the taxes go, teaches people about how things really work in life, keeps kids from being obese, and will force most people to grow the hell up and not bitch about the dumb shit in life. Military personnel don't complain as much about daily problems, because you can always find a time when it was a lot worse, or shit didn't go your way. It's really a shame that Germany has a volunteer military now. I'll talk about the good days because I've had so many in the military, and I've met some really interesting people, both good and bad. Ask about crazy shit we would do or funnest day in the military. Would you want someone to ask you about how your brother or sister died? Firefights are rare anymore, but IEDs are a mother and there's nobody there to take the blame or to make pay for the attack. You just go through it and limp on. I carried a M203. PS. If I catch any National Guard wearing their uniform any old dirtbag way out in public to get free food or drinks, we will have problems. I think I'd feel the same way. I would be proud of myself. But I don't like the way American culture tries to make heroes out of every single member of the military. Wildlife rehabber. It's totally okay to touch a baby bird to put him back in his nest. Birds don't really have a sense of smell, so the parents will absolutely not reject him, even if he has your scent on him. On the other hand, leave baby rabbits alone even if the mama isn't around. Chances are she just didn't do a very good job of hiding them and will be back later. Taking baby rabbits to a vet or rehab is often a death sentence, as they don't always thrive even with the best of care. Indeed, for the most part, wildlife are okay where they are, as long as they are not bleeding or they don't have clear fractures, trauma, whatever. They should be just left alone. If you're concerned about a bunny nest though, you can place sticks around it in a cross pattern or something to make sure the mom is actually coming back. If the sticks aren't moved, rustled, she's probably gone. Call a local rehabber. EMT, don't lie to me. If you're on something, you're pregnant, you had a couple drinks, or whatever it might be, not telling me means you won't be treated correctly, which means you could die. I'm here to help you. And that's it. Oh, and don't be a dong to the guy in charge of your medical decisions. That shit should be a given. In EMT school we were taught to be medical detectives for the ill workers. 2011 I was in the hospital, pericarditis, and the amount of times I was asked if I have or was using drugs was quite amusing. All in one conversation. Do you use drugs? No. Are you sure you don't use drugs? I'm sure. No drugs. You don't have to lie to us. It's okay to tell us no drugs. We're not your parents. You won't get in trouble. Have you used any drugs? None at all. So, you haven't used drugs? Correct. If you say so. Scribbles and notepad, probably something like might use drugs. Thrift store employee, we legitimately just make up prices. So if you think the price is too high, ask us to change it. You are 100% more likely to get a deal by asking for one than you are by taking the tag off and asking us how much it costs. When you take the tag off, we're likely to charge you more than you would have paid in the first place. Just because you've added extra work for us and we're aggravated and we hate you now. Unless it's the Goodwill store. That shit is hard fast, as least at my local branch. It is a Goodwill store, so clearly your branch is a jerky branch full of jerks. Locksmith here. Most locks are not complicated and they will not protect you or your valuables. Lockpicking shimming is so easy you can teach it to an 8-year-old. And I have. I've been flooded with questions, so I will try to put all of the more common answers here to save you some time. Having a sound door/frame with a double core lock, if legal in your area, will work wonders for keeping your larger items in your house if it is broken into. Just be aware of the dangers of fire. Double core locks are also the best thing for keeping little special needs kids from sneaking out. I recommend Sklich Primus locks, but there are a lot of good ones out there if you are willing to spend. Getting a safe and bolting it to the floor is the best course for your smaller items. A portable safe is worthless and you can find good safes second hand for cheap. Safes are measured in the time it takes to force your way into one. A good CCTV system is a godsend. They can even notify you via cell phone if something breaks your perimeter/opens a door, and can be viewed through the internet in some cases. Just remember to hide your DVR because a thief will try to take it, so there is no evidence. Having all these things in place does not make your house burglar proof, but the odds of you getting cleaned out are insanely low at that point. I heard you were dead. 8-year-old here with lockpicking skills. Can confirm. Really, though, I carry at least one lockpick with me most of the time. And while I only have the best intentions, your things aren't safe. Psychotherapist. You don't need anyone's permission, not even your own mind's, to live a life full of the things that matter to you. Happiness is not the absence of pain, but rather the willingness to ride out the painful bits in order to live the life you want. Humbled by your kind words, and thanks very much for the gold. True humanity on Reddit exists. Embryologist. Your chance of achieving pregnancy after the age of 42 without the use of donor eggs is almost non-existent. The answer to life, it all makes sense now. And the graph starts heading sharply downwards from 35. More women should know this. It's not a happy surprise. Teaching. No, I do not just work 9-3-30, and the holidays aren't spent just being off. I put a lot of time, effort and money into making sure my class get the best education I can give them. It's 9:30 PM and my mom is grading papers. Upvote for you. Professor, we inflate grades dramatically because higher education has been turned into a business and we are pressured to keep the customers, students, Happy, especially since 70% of us are part-time. Fire at will, employees. And those of you with tenure are ducking crazy. Since 70% of us are part-time. Fire at will, employees. Come on, up me to 73% so I can get a B. Scientist, we don't actually know what we're doing, either. Archaeology, I do not dig up dinosaurs. I wanted to say, anthropology no, I don't dig up bones, see. Graphic designer use spell check, and for God's sake also use spell check. And you'll hate the just use the enhance button joke. Mostly because there are a large number of people who believe that shit is real. Computer programmer, we are in the pre-industrial era of software development. And even the best of us aren't very good at it. Think about it. Mechanical engineering is hundreds of years old, architecture is older, software starts at roughly 1950. We have a long way to go when a new bridge, building or airplane is designed. Everybody knows it will almost certainly work correctly. Major software projects frequently crash and burn and are abandoned. Those that succeed are filled with bugs. Software is not a rigorous engineering discipline. And yes, I have been programming since 1972 and I know a bit about software. Also a computer programmer, and this is what I'd like people to know. I have a very small knowledge of computer repair. I use this to explain it to friends and family. You'd expect a cab driver to have a good theoretical knowledge of car mechanics, but you wouldn't expect them to know how to fix all problems on all cars. Well, as a programmer I'm more like a driver than a mechanic. I know how to take a computer places, but if it breaks and it's not a simple fix, there isn't much I can do. Pizza guy, please put on some damn pants when you come to the door. Turn your ducking lights on. Attention, your cheap wireless doorbell does not ducking work. I'm a lawyer. If you've got a problem, collect evidence. When you testify during the lawsuit, your word means little. You may lose the case due to lack of evidence supporting your side, regardless of what actually happened. I've seen good people, including my own clients, lose cases where I had no doubt they were in the right, just because they had nothing to show for themselves except their own say-so. The way you overcome this is by getting evidence while the problem is happening. Get people to put things in writing, including even yourself. Even if you just take down notes, and put the date at the top, and put them in a drawer. That's a lot better than nothing. It makes sense. Memories get foggy as time goes on. Take notes, get things in writing, and hold on to everything. It'll pay off down the line. Edit. Please do not PM me for legal advice. It's not even that I can't. Though I can't. But I don't know what to tell you. There's a reason your lawyers take hours and hours to handle your case. I'm confused about something. If I commit murder and am charged for it, do I tell you and you make up an alibi for me? Or do I keep it to myself and lie to you also? Technically it's up to the lawyer. Some lawyers want to know everything, the whole truth. And some lawyers will say something to the effect of I do not want to know your side of the story. Let's see what type of evidence the prosecutor presents. The lawyer does have some ethical rules that they must comply with, including not lying, so sometimes it's better to not really know what happened. Fire is hot. Source: I fight fires. Oh, slow down. I have a strong mental image of you strapping on some boxing gloves and knocking them flames the duck out. Preschool teacher, your kids will tell on you. They will slip little things into regular conversation that you would prefer we did not know about you. Things like, my daddy is sad, all we do at home is watch TV, and mommy and daddy said I can't play in the chest anymore because that's where they keep their toys. Yep, that's right. They even tell us about your kink. The thing is, unless you consistently show yourself to be a shitty parent, we are not going to judge you for those things. The kids usually share these things because they feel safe with us and trust us. B. There is some piece of info in their revelation that is truly important to them. And or C. They are trying to make sense of adult actions with a child's mind. We know this and will take the information, so please give us the same benefit of the doubt that we afford you. Edit. After reading all of the comments, I think I should clarify that, yes, I do know that children lie a lot. Lying is a very normal part of development and is not too difficult to spot if you know each child in the classroom well. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and my experience has shown me that most teachers are very discerning when it comes to students' stories from home. Graphic designer. I insert dongs into everything I make, though as subtle as humanly possible. I've been doing this for 9 years and not a single person has noticed, as I always slip it into final drafts and print copies. Sometimes it's really small on the design. Sometimes I use multiple design elements to make the shape, but it's always there somewhere. I kind of want to see some of your work. Grocery store clerk. Please be patient. I see 200 plus people a day. I have to scan over 300 coupons, sometimes up to 1000. Our store has over 2000 items, at least 300 in produce alone. I can't remember all the clue codes. I can't know off the top of my head if your coupon is going to work. I am not a magician and I can only do things so fast. I feel like people don't realize just how stressful being a cashier is. I worked at a Sam's Club, and on a bad day I saw about $10,000 go through my register on a 6-ish hour shift, minus lunch. It could be over $20,000 on a busy day with high priced items. Then, after all that, I need to be missing less than $5 over a month. It's stressful. Bank teller. The reason we put the pen on a chain isn't because we're afraid you'll steal it. It's so that we don't have to go searching for a pen every time a customer comes in. Sometimes people absentmindedly walk out with pens and sometimes we misplace them. However, I work in a small town bank and we don't have computers at every teller window. In walking back and forth between computers and windows, a ridiculous amount of pens can be lost. I'm sure other banks don't have this problem. Edit. Clarification. You've just answered something I'd always vaguely wondered about but never given much thought to. Thank you. It's really not so much of a better keep these pen thieves from stealing our shit as it is a reminder of, hey, don't absentmindedly walk out with this pen. You'll see restaurants that do a lot of takeout tape plastic forks or spoons to their pens for the same reason. As a teacher, most of us want to see you succeed in class, even if it's only to make ourselves look better. If you really want to work with us, set some time aside and we'll return the favor. Also, no smartass kid is worth being fired. Teachers aren't out to get you. Tell that to my 16-year-old brother who routinely fails classes because the teachers hate him. He has a passion for that conspiracy equatable to the anti-immunization lunacy. Bus driver, before you complain because I am a whole 2 minutes late to get your kid, please remember I am driving a 38,000 pound bus with about 50-70 children who think it's playtime in rush hour traffic, as I also listen to 80 plus other drivers try to do the same yet have to deal with people who cut us off and just don't give a shit. You think it sucks when you get stuck in gridlock with your kids or someone gives you road rage for taking a left too slow? Yeah, try it on a school bus. In plain English, I wanna see you do my job and show up at the same house at the same time every day regardless of weather, traffic, safety, etc. Seriously, give your driver a break and for the love of bacon do not pass a stopped school bus. End rant. Pawn shop employee. No, we don't have Battletoads. If you intake more calories than you burn, you will gain weight. If you burn more calories than you intake, you will lose weight. Health and fitness specialist. It's why I always throw half my box of chocolate in the fireplace. It evens it out. Edit. I spend hours giving answers on computer science and physics in r/actions, r/explain liquid 5 and r/quantum, and this is the shit you people upvote. You people make me sick. Nah, I'm kidding. I love you. I work in a reservations call center for a hotel and previously worked at the front desk of a hotel. Always ask for upgrades. When I worked front desk I could easily upgrade you to a suite if we had one available. No loss for us as it would be sitting there empty anyways. At my reservations job now, we are able to adjust pricing, give free perks, etc. I'm not saying to rip into us and say, well, give me free shit. No, but always ask if they can do anything special for you or if an upgrade is available, especially when you check in. Edit. Holy shit, this got a lot of attention. Okay, a lot of you are asking me how to ask. In my opinion, it's best to ask in a half-joking manner. Oh, and do you have any bigger rooms you could move us to for free? Chuckle, the front desk will check for you. Another way is to say it's a special occasion and ask if they do anything special. Since most hotels do, honestly, we get asked this a lot. We're not going to be annoyed with you for asking. Just don't try and yell at us over it and don't expect it. If you get it, great. If you don't, all you did was ask, so whatever. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.